The vast darkness of space sparkled with thousands of stars. But today something was different. Giant alien ships floated near the Galactic Council station. These ships were beautiful. They glowed with bright blue energy. Their hulls were smooth like glass. They looked like works of art flying through space. Commander Zex of the Altarian fleet watched his viewing screen with pride. His ship was 3 miles long. Energy shields danced around it like living light. The weapons could destroy a planet in seconds. This was the power of advanced civilization. "Sir," his officer said, pointing at the screen. "New ships approaching the station." Zex looked at the screen and started laughing. Other alien commanders on nearby ships began laughing too. What they saw looked like a joke. The human ships were small and ugly. They had no energy shields, no glowing lights, just grey metal boxes with fire shooting out the back. Black smoke came from their engines. The ships looked old and broken. They moved slowly through space like wounded animals. "What are those things?" asked Commander Thak from the Reptilian Empire. His ship was covered in golden armor. "Are they cargo containers? Where are the real ships?" "Those are their ships," Zex said, still laughing. "The humans think those metal boxes can travel in space with us." Inside the lead human ship, Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair. Her ship was called the Iron Wolf. The walls were plain metal. The computer screens were simple and old. Everything looked basic compared to alien technology. "Captain," said her pilot, "the aliens are laughing at us." Chen smiled slightly. "Let them laugh, Tom. We're here to do a job, not to look pretty." The human ships docked with the Galactic Council station. The station was massive. It was made of crystal and energy fields. Millions of aliens from hundreds of worlds lived there. To them, the arrival of humans was like watching cave people visit a modern city. Ambassador Lisa Park stepped off the human ship. She wore a simple blue uniform. Around her, alien beings stared and whispered. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of energy. Some had tentacles instead of arms. All of them were more advanced than humans. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in floating chairs. Their translator devices let them all speak to each other. At the center sat High Chancellor Vex, a being made of pure light. "So," Chancellor Vex said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "the humans have finally reached the stars. We have been watching your world for some time." Ambassador Park stood straight. "We come seeking membership in the Galactic Trade Alliance. Earth has much to offer." Laughter filled the chamber. Not mean laughter, but the kind adults make when children say something cute. "Trade Alliance," said Commander Zex, who was also a council member. "Your ships barely made it here. Your technology is thousands of years behind ours. What could you possibly offer us?" "We offer hard work," Park replied. "We offer loyalty. We offer the determination of the human spirit." More gentle laughter echoed through the chamber. The aliens found humans amusing, like pets that could talk. Chancellor Vex raised his hand for silence. "Very well, we will give you a chance. But first you must prove yourselves. We have trade routes that others refuse to take. They are dangerous. If you can handle these routes for 1 year, we will consider full membership." The alien council members smiled. They were giving humans the worst job possible. The routes passed through pirate territory. The space lanes were filled with asteroids and radiation storms. Most ships avoided these areas completely. "We accept," Ambassador Park said without hesitation. The aliens were surprised. They expected humans to ask for easier routes first. Outside the station, Captain Chen prepared her small fleet. She had 12 ships total. Each one was smaller than a single alien shuttle. Her crew was brave but nervous. "Captain," said her communications officer, "the Galactic Defense Force is sending us the route maps. These paths go through the worst parts of space." Chen looked at the star maps. Red danger zones marked most of the routes. Pirate attacks happened weekly in these areas. Supply convoys rarely made it through safely. "Well," Chen said to her crew, "nobody said it would be easy. But humans have been taking dangerous roads for thousands of years. This is just another frontier." Her crew nodded with determination. They knew the risks, but they also knew that backing down was not the human way. As the small human fleet prepared to leave, alien observers watched with curiosity. Most expected the humans to fail quickly. Some felt sorry for these primitive beings. But deep in the darkness of space, something else was watching too. Hidden sensors recorded everything. Ancient enemies of the galaxy had noticed the arrival of these strange new warriors. These humans were different from other species. They did not run from danger. They did not fear death. And in the depths of the Void Empire, an ancient intelligence stirred. It had been sleeping for 1,000 years, but now it sensed something new in the galaxy, something that might be dangerous to its plans. The human ships disappeared into hyperspace, heading toward their first assignment. Behind them, the aliens continued their daily lives, already forgetting about the amusing primitives. None of them knew that everything was about to change. The galaxy had laughed at human ships. Soon they would learn why that was a mistake. 3 weeks had passed since the humans left the Galactic Council Station. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, watching the star charts. Her small fleet was deep in pirate territory now. 12 human ships carried important supplies to a remote colony world. "Captain," said Tom, her pilot, "we're approaching the Crimson Nebula. Intel says this is where most attacks happen." Chen nodded. The nebula was a cloud of red gas and dust. Ships could hide easily inside it. Perfect place for an ambush. "All ships, stay in formation," Chen ordered through her communication system. "Keep your eyes open. If there are pirates here, they know we're coming." In the alien pirate base hidden deep in the nebula, Captain Crack smiled with his sharp teeth. The Vothan pirate leader had been raiding this sector for 20 years. His fleet had never lost a battle. "Fresh meat approaching," his scanner operator reported. 12 small ships. "They look primitive." Crack laughed. "Humans, I heard about these new species. Council gave them the death roots. This will be easy money." 20 pirate ships powered up their engines. Each one was twice the size of the human vessels. Their hulls were covered in spikes and skulls. Energy weapons glowed along their sides like hungry eyes. "Deploy attack formation," Crack ordered. "Surround them. Standard procedure: destroy their engines, steal their cargo, sell the survivors as slaves." The human convoy moved slowly through the nebula. Red gas swirled around their ships like blood in water. Suddenly alarms began ringing on every human bridge. "Contact," shouted the sensor operator on Iron Wolf. 20 ships decloaking around us. Pirate vessels." Captain Chen felt her heart race, but her voice stayed calm. "All ships, this is Chen. Pirates have us surrounded. Prepare for combat." On the pirate flagship, Crack opened a communication channel. His ugly face appeared on human screens. "Little humans, you are trapped. Surrender now and we might let some of you live." The other human captains waited for Chen's response. Some were young officers on their first deep space mission. Others were veterans of Earth's old wars. All of them looked to their leader. Chen stared at the pirate captain on her screen. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You have 10 seconds to leave this area, or we will consider you hostile." Crack burst into laughter. "Hostile? You have 12 tiny ships. We have 20 war vessels. Are you insane?" 9 seconds, Chen replied calmly. The pirate captain stopped laughing. These humans were not acting like normal victims. Usually prey species begged for mercy or tried to negotiate, but these creatures seemed different. "You cannot fight us," Crack snarled. "Our shields will stop your primitive weapons. Our energy cannons will tear through your metal hulls like paper." 3 seconds, Chen said. "Captain," Tom whispered, "their ships are much more advanced than ours." Chen smiled coldly. "Tom, advanced isn't everything. Sometimes simple wins." She opened the fleet channel. "All ships, execute Wolfpack formation. Target their engines. Show these pirates how humans fight." The human ships suddenly scattered in different directions. This confused the pirates. Most species tried to run when surrounded, but the humans were moving toward the enemy ships, not away from them. "Fire!" Crack screamed. Energy beams shot through space. Most missed the fast-moving human vessels. A few hits made human shields spark, but the ships kept coming. Then the human ships returned fire. Instead of energy weapons, they used kinetic cannons. Simple but powerful guns that shot solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The pirates had never seen weapons like these before. The first pirate ship exploded when human rounds punched right through its energy shields. Shields were designed to stop energy attacks, not physical projectiles moving at near light speed. "Impossible!" Crack shouted. "How did they penetrate our shields?" Captain Chen's voice came over the communication system. "Lesson 1, pirates. High-tech shields don't stop old-fashioned bullets." The human ships moved in coordinated groups, just like wolf packs hunting prey. While some ships distracted the pirates, others attacked from behind. They used the nebula's gas clouds for cover. The UES Ranger, commanded by Captain Mike Torres, charged straight at a pirate cruiser 3 times its size. The pirate captain laughed and fired all weapons, but the human ship kept coming, absorbing damage. "Torres, pull back!" Chen ordered. "Your hull is breached." "Negative, Captain," Torres replied. His bridge was on fire, but he stayed at his post. "I've got one shot at their main reactor. If I can ram them." "Mike, no!" But Torres had already made his decision. The Ranger smashed into the pirate ship at full speed. Both vessels exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The pirates had never seen anything like this. Most species valued their lives above everything, but these humans were willing to die to complete their mission. "They're crazy," screamed a pirate gunner. "Who sacrifices themselves for a cargo run?" Crack was beginning to understand. These weren't normal prey. These were predators disguised as weak creatures. The battle continued for 30 minutes. Human ships took heavy damage, but they never stopped fighting. When their weapons ran out of ammunition, they used their ships as weapons. When their engines failed, they used manual controls. Captain Lisa Wong's ship, the UES Thunder, lost all power. Pirates surrounded her vessel, ready to board and capture the crew. But Wong had one last surprise. "This is Thunder to all ships," she transmitted. "I'm overloading my reactor. Everyone stay clear. Lisa, you don't have to do this," Chen called out. "Yes, I do," Wong replied. "My grandmother fought in World War III. She never surrendered. Neither will I." The Thunder exploded with the force of a small nuclear bomb. The blast destroyed 3 pirate ships and damaged several others. By the end of the battle, the humans had lost 4 ships, but they had destroyed 12 pirate vessels. The remaining pirates were in full retreat. Crack's damaged flagship limped away through the nebula. His crew was terrified and confused. "Captain," his second-in-command said, "those humans, they fight like demons. They don't fear death." Crack stared at the burning wreckage on his view screen. In 20 years of piracy, he had never seen anything like this battle. "Send word to all pirate clans," he ordered. "Avoid human ships. They're not worth the cost." Back on Iron Wolf, Captain Chen watched the remaining 8 ships of her convoy reform. They had completed their mission. The cargo would reach the colony, but the cost had been high. "Captain," Tom said quietly, "message coming in from Galactic Command. They want a report on the pirate encounter." Chen thought about her lost comrades. Torres, Wong, and 2 other brave captains would not be going home, but their sacrifice had meaning. "Tell Command the mission was successful," she said. "And Tom, send a message to Earth. Tell them the pirates know now. Humans don't run from a fight." Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. Alien news networks reported the strange story. How could primitive humans defeat advanced pirate technology? In the Galactic Council chambers, the alien leaders watched battle recordings with surprise. These humans were not what they seemed. "Perhaps," Chancellor Vex said thoughtfully, "we underestimated them." But in the darkest regions of space, something else was watching. Ancient sensors had recorded every moment of the battle. The Void Empire had been sleeping for centuries, but now their scouts were active again. "Interesting," whispered the Void Emperor from his throne ship. "These humans have the warrior spirit we thought was extinct in this galaxy. They could be valuable servants, or dangerous enemies." The Emperor's red eyes glowed in the darkness. "Continue monitoring them. If they prove strong enough, we will recruit them. If not, we will destroy them with the rest of this galaxy." The human convoy continued toward their destination, unaware that they were now being watched by forces far more dangerous than pirates. The galaxy had begun to take notice of humanity, and in the depths of space, an ancient evil was waking up. Part 3. The Real Enemy Appears. 2 months after the pirate battle, the galaxy was changing. News of human courage had spread to every world. Some aliens began to respect these strange warriors. Others still laughed at their simple ships, but everyone was talking about them. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her quarters aboard Iron Wolf reading reports. Her convoy missions had been successful. Human ships were now carrying cargo through routes that other species refused to travel. The Galactic Council was impressed, but they still treated humans like junior members. Suddenly, alarms began screaming throughout the ship. "Captain, to the bridge!" Tom's voice crackled over the communication system. "Emergency signal from the outer rim." Chen rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, she saw something that made her blood freeze. A massive alien city was burning. Entire sections of the space station were breaking apart. Ships were fleeing in all directions like scared insects. What happened? Chen asked. It's the Zerion trade hub, Tom reported. Population 12 million. Someone attacked it 30 minutes ago. The communication system activated. A terrified alien voice filled the bridge. This is Station Commander Vec. We are under attack by unknown forces. Our defense fleet is gone. They destroyed everything in minutes. The ships are like nothing we've ever seen. The transmission cut to static. Chen stared at the screen. Zerion Hub had the strongest defenses in the Outer Rim. Energy shields that could stop entire fleets. Weapons that could destroy planets. If someone had conquered it so easily. Get me Galactic Command, Chen ordered. At the Galactic Council Station, panic filled the halls. Alien leaders rushed through corridors shouting orders. In the main command center, High Chancellor Vex watched reports coming in from across the galaxy. 7 star systems attacked in the last hour, reported his aide. All Outer Rim territories, no survivors from any defense forces. Commander Zex from the Altarian fleet stood beside the Chancellor. His proud expression was gone. Fear had replaced it. Chancellor, our most advanced ships were destroyed like toys. What kind of enemy has this power? On the main view screen, images appeared from the attack zones. Massive black ships moved through space like dark clouds. They were enormous, each one the size of a moon. No lights, no energy signatures. Just pure darkness moving between the stars. Run full scans, Vex ordered. What kind of technology are they using? The science officer's hands shook as he worked his console. Sir, the energy readings are impossible. These ships operate on principles we don't understand. They're absorbing energy attacks and using them to power their own weapons. Suddenly, a new signal appeared on the screen. A figure materialized in the hologram projector. It was tall and thin, covered in dark armor. Its face was hidden behind a mask that looked like a skull. When it spoke, its voice was cold and empty. Beings of this galaxy, the figure said, I am Commander Nexus of the Void Empire. We have returned after 1,000 years of sleep. This galaxy belongs to us now. The alien leaders in the command center went silent. Stories of the Void Empire were old legends, ancient nightmares that parents told children to make them behave. Your technology has grown since our last visit, Commander Nexus continued. But you have become weak. You rely too much on energy shields and plasma weapons. You have forgotten the old ways of war. The hologram showed images of destroyed fleets. Beautiful alien ships were torn apart like paper. Energy shields collapsed under weapons they couldn't stop. Surrender now, and some of you will serve us as slaves. Resist, and we will turn your worlds to ash. The transmission ended. Chancellor Vex turned to his military advisors. How long until they reach the core worlds? At their current speed, 3 days, the tactical officer replied. Commander Zex stepped forward. We need to gather every ship in the galaxy. Combined, our fleet's number in the millions. It won't matter, said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see Ambassador Lisa Park, the human representative. She had been quietly observing the crisis. Excuse me, Vex asked. Park walked to the center of the room. Your ships all use the same basic technology. Energy weapons, plasma shields, quantum drives. The Void Empire has had 1,000 years to prepare for exactly this kind of attack. Then what do you suggest? Commander Zex asked with anger. Your primitive ships would last 10 seconds against those monsters. Park smiled sadly. Maybe, but we humans learned something a long time ago. Sometimes the old ways work better than the new ways. She activated her personal communicator. This is Ambassador Park to Earth Defense Command. We have a code black situation. The galaxy needs our help. The alien stared at her. How could humans help when their most advanced fleets had failed? A new voice came over the communication system. It was Admiral James Morrison, commander of Earth's Space Forces. Ambassador, we've been monitoring the situation. The Void Empire uses quantum absorption technology. They feed on energy attacks. Can you stop them? Park asked. Maybe, Morrison replied. But we'll need to use tactics that haven't been seen in this galaxy for centuries. Old Earth methods. Are the aliens willing to follow human military strategy? The room was silent. These proud civilizations had ruled space for millennia. Could they really take orders from primitive humans? Chancellor Vex looked at the tactical displays. More worlds were falling every hour. What do you need? He asked Park. First, we need all energy weapons shut down, Park explained. No plasma cannons, no photon torpedoes, no quantum disruptors. The Void Empire feeds on that energy. Then how do we fight them? Zex demanded. Kinetic weapons, nuclear missiles, chemical explosives, good old-fashioned bullets and bombs. Park's voice was calm but serious. Things they can't absorb or turn against us. The alien commanders looked at each other with doubt. Use primitive weapons against advanced enemies? It seemed impossible. There's more, Park continued. We need to change our tactics completely. No more formal fleet battles. No more honor duels between capital ships. This will be guerrilla warfare. Hit-and-run attacks. Ambushes, fighting dirty. Commander Zex was insulted. The Altarian fleet has fought with honor for 10,000 years. We don't hide like cowards. Honor won't save your people, Park replied firmly. Pride won't stop the Void Empire from turning your worlds into dust. Sometimes survival is more important than tradition. News came in that 2 more star systems had fallen. Billions of lives lost in minutes. Chancellor Vex made his decision. Ambassador Park, what do you need from us? Complete military cooperation, she replied. Human officers will work with your commanders. We'll teach you our methods. And when the real battle comes, everyone follows human tactical doctrine. The pride of the galaxy was about to ask primitive humans for help. It hurt their pride, but they were running out of options. Agreed, Vex said quietly. Park activated her communicator again. Admiral Morrison, you have full authorization. Begin Operation Firestorm. Understood, Morrison replied. The Earth fleet is already moving. We'll meet you at the Titan Nebula in 18 hours. As human ships began arriving from Earth, the aliens got their first real look at the Terran Defense Force. These weren't the small cargo vessels they had seen before. These were warships. Still simple compared to alien technology, but they were built for one purpose: war. The ships had thick armor instead of energy shields. They carried nuclear missiles, railguns, and kinetic cannons. Everything was designed to deliver maximum destruction with minimum technology. Admiral Morrison's flagship, the UES Defiance, docked with the Council Station. When he stepped aboard, the aliens were surprised. He was an older human with gray hair and scars on his face. He looked like a warrior from ancient times. Gentlemen, Morrison addressed the gathered alien commanders. We're about to fight an enemy that has every technological advantage. They're faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything in this galaxy. The aliens shifted nervously. But they've made one mistake, Morrison continued with a cold smile. They think advanced technology always wins. They've forgotten that sometimes the simplest weapon is the deadliest. He activated a holographic display showing the Void Empire fleet. These ships are designed to fight energy-based civilizations. They absorb plasma and redirect quantum attacks. Their hulls can adapt to most forms of energy. Then how do we hurt them? Asked a reptilian commander. Morrison's smile grew wider. We're going to introduce them to something they haven't seen in 1,000 years. Human warfare, nuclear fire, chemical explosives, and the one thing they can't absorb or redirect, which is pure kinetic force. A big enough rock moving fast enough can destroy anything. As the combined fleet prepared for battle, reports came in that the Void Empire was approaching the core systems. The final battle was only hours away. Admiral Morrison stood on his bridge watching the stars. His communication officer approached. Sir, the Void Empire commander is sending a message. Put it through. Commander Nexus appeared on the screen again. His skull mask seemed to stare directly at Morrison. So the galaxy has found new defenders. Tell me, human, do you really think your primitive weapons can stop the power of the Void? Morrison looked back calmly. Commander, you've been asleep for 1,000 years. You missed something important. And what is that? Humans learned how to make war an art form, and we're about to give you a masterclass. The transmission cut out. In the distance, dark shapes began appearing between the stars. The Void Empire had arrived for the final battle. Morrison turned to his crew. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Today we fight not just for humanity, but for every free species in the galaxy. Show them what humans do best. The greatest space battle in galactic history was about to begin. The space around the Titan Nebula filled with ships. Hundreds of thousands of vessels from across the galaxy formed the largest fleet in history. Alien warships with glowing hulls floated beside simple human destroyers. Everyone waited for the enemy to arrive. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of UES Defiance, watching the tactical displays. His gray eyes showed no fear, only determination. Around him, human and alien officers worked together at their stations. "Admiral," reported his communication officer. "Void Empire fleet detected. Distance 1 million kilometers and closing." Morrison activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Morrison. Remember your training. Energy weapons offline until my signal. Kinetic systems only. Fight smart, not proud." On the alien ships, commanders struggled with these orders. The Altarian fleet commander Zex stared at his weapon console. His ship's powerful plasma cannons were dark. Instead, he had crude kinetic missiles that humans had installed. "This feels wrong," Zex muttered. "Fighting with primitive weapons." His aide nodded. "Sir, our ancestors conquered stars with energy weapons. Now we use bullets." Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear apart. Massive black shapes emerged from hyperspace. The Void Empire fleet was enormous. Each ship was the size of a small moon, covered in dark metal that seemed to drink light. No energy signatures, no glowing engines, just death floating through the void. Commander Nexus appeared on all view screens simultaneously. His skull mask reflected the light of distant stars. "Beings of this galaxy, you have gathered your fleets to face us. Impressive, but pointless." The void ships began powering their weapons. Strange energy fields surrounded them like hungry shadows. "You will see the power that conquered 1,000 galaxies," Nexus continued. "Your energy shields will feed our systems. Your plasma weapons will make us stronger. This battle is already over." Admiral Morrison opened a channel to all allied ships. "Fleet commanders, execute Plan Alpha. Show them what real firepower looks like." The human ships fired first. Not energy beams or plasma bolts, but solid projectiles moving at incredible speed. Nuclear-tipped kinetic missiles streaked through space like angry meteors. Railgun rounds followed, moving at nearly light speed. The void ships tried to absorb the attacks like they did with energy weapons, but kinetic force couldn't be absorbed or redirected. The first nuclear missile struck a void destroyer. The explosion tore through its hull like paper. Commander Nexus watched in shock as his ship shook from the impact. "Impossible! How are they penetrating our absorption fields?" "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "they're not using energy weapons. These are physical projectiles with chemical explosives. Primitives." Nexus snarled. "Fire all weapons! Show them the power of the void!" Dark energy beams shot from the void fleet, but the human ships had already scattered. They moved in small groups, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted. This was Wolfpack tactics on a massive scale. The alien ships followed human lead. Altarian vessels that once fought in formal battle lines now darted between asteroids. Reptilian cruisers used hit-and-run attacks instead of honor duels. Everyone was learning to fight like humans. Captain Sarah Chen commanded a strike group of mixed human and alien vessels. Her Iron Wolf led 12 ships through the asteroid field inside the nebula. "Target the engines on that void cruiser," Chen ordered. "All ships fire when ready." Kinetic rounds and nuclear missiles hit the void ship from 6 different directions. Its dark hull cracked and split. Atmosphere vented into space like blood from a wound. "Direct hit," reported a weapons officer. "Enemy vessel is dead in space." But the victory was short-lived. More void ships emerged from hyperspace. Hundreds of them. The galaxy had never seen a fleet this large. Admiral Morrison realized they were outnumbered 10-1. But numbers weren't everything in this kind of fight. "All ships, implement Morrison Doctrine," he commanded. "Guerrilla formation. Use the nebula for cover. Make them fight on our terms." The Allied fleet scattered into the gas clouds and asteroid fields. Instead of one big battle, it became hundreds of small fights. Human tactics were perfect for this kind of warfare. Commander Zex found himself enjoying this new way of fighting. His ship, the Pride of Altair, hid behind a large asteroid. When a void destroyer passed by, he struck from ambush. "Fire nuclear torpedoes," Zex ordered. The missiles hit the enemy ship's reactor core. The explosion lit up half the nebula. "By the stars," Zex whispered. "These human weapons, they work." Meanwhile, Captain Torres of the UES Hammer was leading a desperate mission. His ship was damaged, engines failing, but he had one chance to strike a major blow. "Sir," his pilot reported, "void flagship detected. It's massive, 3 times bigger than anything we've seen. Torres looked at his tactical display. The enemy command ship was protected by dozens of escorts. A direct attack would be suicide. All crew to escape pods, Torres ordered. Captain, his crew stared at him in confusion. That's an order. I'm going to ram their flagship. His officers understood immediately. They had seen human captains make this sacrifice before. It was part of their warrior culture. Sir, we're staying with you, his weapons officer said. If we're going down, we go down fighting. Torres felt pride fill his chest. Then let's give them something to remember. Full speed ahead. The hammer charged straight at the Void flagship. Enemy fire tore through its hull, but the ship kept coming. At the last second, Torres activated the ship's nuclear self-destruct. The explosion was visible from across the battlefield. When the light faded, the Void flagship was gone. Commander Nexus watched his command ship die from his backup vessel. Rage filled his voice. These humans, they fight like ancient warriors. They have no fear of death. His aide trembled beside him. Commander, we've lost 60 ships. The primitives are using tactics we've never encountered. Then we adapt. Nexus snarled. Deploy the planet killers. 3 massive Void ships moved to the front of their fleet. These vessels were different, larger, more dangerous. Energy fields around them pulsed with terrible power. Admiral Morrison saw the new ships on his tactical display. His blood went cold. All ships retreat to safe distance. Those are planet-destroying weapons. But it was too late. The planet killers fired. Beams of pure destruction shot through space. Where they touched, reality itself seemed to tear apart. Several Allied ships were caught in the beams and simply vanished. Not destroyed, erased from existence. Dear God, Morrison whispered. They're not just advanced. They're using weapons that break the laws of physics. One of the beams struck a large asteroid. The rock didn't explode, it just stopped existing. A hole in space marked where it used to be. Commander Nexus laughed over the communication channels. Now you see true power. Your primitive weapons cannot stop the might of the Void. Surrender and your deaths will be quick. The Allied fleet was in chaos. Ships scattered in all directions, trying to escape the planet-killing beams. Several alien commanders called for retreat, but Admiral Morrison had one more card to play. This is Morrison to all ships, he transmitted. I know you're scared. I know this looks hopeless. But humans have faced impossible odds before. He paused, looking at the image of Earth on his personal screen. We've learned something in our long history of war. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And those planet killers, they have one weakness. What weakness? Asked Commander X. Morrison smiled grimly. They're too big to dodge. He activated a special channel to Earth Defense Command. This is Admiral Morrison. Execute Operation Ragnarok. Authorization, Omega Black. Confirmed, Admiral, came the reply. Operation Ragnarok is active. God help us all. Across the galaxy, hidden human installations began powering up. Secret weapons that had been built in the deepest space. Projects so dangerous that only the highest command knew about them. What is Operation Ragnarok? Asked Ambassador Park from her ship. Morrison's voice was quiet and deadly. Something we hoped we'd never have to use. Ambassador, remember what I told you about humans learning to make war an art form? Yes. Well, we're about to show the galaxy our masterpiece. Deep in the asteroid belt, between Mars and Jupiter, a massive construction began to move. It had been disguised as a mining station for decades, but now it revealed its true purpose. The largest kinetic weapon ever built by human hands. A railgun the size of a small moon, powered by the energy of an entire star. It had taken 50 years to build and had never been tested. Target locked, reported the weapons officer on Morrison's ship. Ragnarok is ready to fire. Fire, Morrison said quietly. A projectile the size of a small asteroid shot through hyperspace at 90% light speed. It crossed the galaxy in minutes, guided by quantum targeting systems that could hit a coin at interstellar distances. The round struck the lead planet killer dead center. The explosion was so bright it could be seen from neighboring star systems. Earth hung in space like a blue jewel surrounded by darkness. But today, that darkness was filled with the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. Millions of ships formed defensive rings around their home world. Every human vessel from across the galaxy had returned to protect the cradle of their species. Admiral Morrison stood in the command center of Luna Base, Earth's moon. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see the defensive formations, human warships mixed with alien vessels that had chosen to stand with humanity in this final battle. "Admiral," his aide reported, "all defensive positions are ready. The asteroid belt has been turned into a weapons platform. Mars orbital stations are fully armed. Earth's surface batteries are online." Morrison nodded, but his face was grim. Intelligence reports showed that the Void Empire was bringing everything they had left. This would be the largest space battle in galactic history. "Sir," the communication officer called out, "message from Earth Defense Command. President Chen wants to address the fleet." The view screen activated, showing an older woman with kind but determined eyes. President Sarah Chen was the sister of Captain Chen, who had led the first successful convoy missions. The Chen family had given everything to humanity's rise among the stars. "People of Earth and allies from across the galaxy," she began. "Today we face an enemy that wants to destroy everything we've built. They think we're weak because we use simple weapons. They think we're cowards because we don't fight with honor codes." Her voice grew stronger, "but they don't understand humans. We are the species that climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. We survived ice ages, plagues, and wars. We turned a hostile planet into our garden, and we will not surrender our home to anyone." Cheers echoed through ships across the fleet. Human crews and alien allies alike felt their courage rise. Suddenly, space itself began to twist and tear. Dark shapes emerged from hyperspace like nightmares made real. The Void Empire had arrived with their remaining fleet. Hundreds of massive black ships surrounded Earth's solar system. Commander Nexus appeared on all communication channels. His skull mask seemed to glow with hatred. "Humans of Earth, you have caused us great losses, but now you face our full might. Surrender, and we will make your end swift." Admiral Morrison activated his own transmission. "Commander Nexus, this is Admiral Morrison. We have a message for you and your empire. Speak your last words, primitive." Morrison's voice was calm and cold. "Go to hell." The final battle began. The Void Fleet attacked from all directions at once. Dark energy beams shot through space, trying to overwhelm Earth's defenses. But humanity had learned from every previous battle. They were ready. The asteroid belt came alive with weapons fire. Humans had turned every large rock into a missile platform. Nuclear-armed asteroids launched themselves at void ships like guided meteors. Captain Sarah Chen, now commanding the super dreadnought UES Terra, led the outer defense line. Her ship was the largest humanity had ever built. Not pretty like alien vessels, but built for one purpose: war. "All batteries fire at will," Chen commanded. Kinetic cannons roared across space. Railgun rounds moved so fast they became streaks of light. Nuclear torpedoes followed, turning the darkness between worlds into a galaxy of explosions. The void ships pressed forward, absorbing what energy attacks they could. But most of Earth's weapons were kinetic now. Physical force they couldn't redirect or absorb. On Mars, the orbital defense platforms revealed humanity's newest surprise. Giant magnetic launchers that could hurl asteroids at near light speed. The red planet became a cannon, shooting chunks of rock the size of mountains at the enemy fleet. Commander Nexus watched his ships take damage from these primitive attacks. "How are they hurting us? These weapons are thousands of years old." His tactical officer was confused too. "Sir, our technology is designed to counter advanced civilizations. These humans fight like barbarians. Then we'll show them the power of true civilization." Nexus snarled. "Deploy the world burner." Deep in the center of the Void Fleet, the largest ship began to power up. It was the size of a small moon, covered in weapon systems that could crack planets apart. This was their ultimate weapon, designed to destroy entire worlds. Admiral Morrison saw the massive ship on his tactical displays. "Dear God," he whispered. "That thing could turn Earth into molten rock." But humanity had one more surprise left. "Admiral," his communication officer reported, "transmission from the outer system." It's the colony fleet, sir." Morrison smiled for the first time in hours. "Put them through." The view screen showed Captain Rodriguez of the Mars Colonial Fleet. Behind her were thousands of ships, cargo haulers, mining vessels, passenger transports. Not warships, but crewed by humans who refused to abandon their home. "Admiral," Rodriguez said, "we know we're not military, but this is our home too. Every human in the system is here to fight. Similar messages came in from all over. The Jupiter Mining Consortium had armed their industrial ships. The Saturn research stations had turned their scientific equipment into weapons. Even civilian transports carried families who wanted to defend Earth. Morrison felt tears in his eyes. This was why humans never surrendered. When threatened, they didn't just fight as soldiers. They fought as a people. "Welcome to the battle," Morrison told the civilian fleet. "Show them what humans do when someone threatens our family." The civilian ships spread out across the solar system. They couldn't fight the Void Fleet directly, but they could help in other ways. Mining ships delivered asteroids to the military vessels. Research ships used their sensors to track enemy movements. Transport vessels evacuated damaged warships. The Void Empire had never seen anything like this. An entire species working together as one massive war machine. But the World Burner was almost ready to fire. Commander Nexus stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the weapon charge. Soon this primitive world will be ash, and with it, the spirit of resistance will die. The massive cannon began to glow with dark energy. Reality itself seemed to bend around it. This weapon didn't just destroy matter, it erased it from existence completely. "Target locked on Earth," the weapons officer reported. "World Burner ready to fire! Fire!" Nexus commanded. The beam shot across space toward Earth. It was unstoppable, unblockable. It would erase humanity's homeworld completely. But Captain Sarah Chen had other plans. "All ships, this is Terra Actual," she transmitted. "Execute final protocol." Every human ship in the outer defense line turned toward the incoming beam. Not to run from it, but to fly directly into it. "Sarah, no." Admiral Morrison called over the radio. "You can't stop that beam." "Maybe not," Chen replied calmly. "But we can slow it down, give you time for one last shot." Hundreds of human ships threw themselves into the path of the World Burner beam. They knew they would die, but their sacrifice would give Earth precious seconds. The beam hit the first wave of ships and they simply vanished, but each ship absorbed a tiny fraction of the weapon's power. The beam grew slightly weaker with each sacrifice. Captain Chen's ship was the last in line. As the Terra began to dissolve around her, she activated her final transmission. This is for every human who ever looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. Earth will survive. Humanity will endure. The Terra vanished in light, but the beam had been weakened just enough. Instead of erasing Earth completely, it only destroyed the outer atmosphere. The planet would live. Admiral Morrison watched the sacrifice of hundreds of ships and felt rage fill his heart. "That's enough," he said quietly. "Fire everything. Every weapon. Every ship. End this now." Operation Ragnarok activated again. But this time, it wasn't just one railgun. Humanity had been building them in secret across the galaxy for 50 years. Dozens of hypervelocity weapons fired simultaneously from hidden positions. The barrage struck the Void Fleet like the hammer of an angry god. Ship after ship exploded in nuclear fire. The World Burner itself took a direct hit to its reactor core and became a new sun for 30 seconds. Commander Nexus felt his flagship breaking apart around him. "Impossible. We are the Void Empire. We have conquered 1,000 galaxies." Admiral Morrison's voice came over the communication system one last time. "Commander, you made one mistake. You threatened our home, and humans will do anything to protect their family." The flagship exploded, taking Nexus with it. The surviving Void ships tried to retreat, but they were surrounded. Human and alien vessels pressed the attack from all sides. The greatest evil the galaxy had ever known was finally broken. In the aftermath, Earth hung in space, scarred but alive. The atmosphere would heal, the cities would be rebuilt, but most importantly, humanity had survived. Admiral Morrison stood in his command center, looking out at the debris field that had once been the Void Fleet. His aide approached with a damage report. "Casualties, sir?" Morrison's voice was heavy with grief and pride. "Too many good people died today. But Earth lives. Humanity lives. That's what matters." A new transmission came in from the Galactic Council. Chancellor Vex appeared on the screen, but he looked different. Respectful. Humble. "Admiral Morrison," Vex said formally, "the Galactic Council offers our deepest gratitude. Without human courage and sacrifice, we would all be slaves or dead.